Yes. How do you motivate students? That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And it's a question that teachers face every single day. It's not an easy task to keep kids on task. It's not easy to keep them motivated. It's not easy to keep them engaged in learning. And I would like to welcome parents to the world of education. It is a big challenge. On a practical level, how do we engage and motivate our students during this difficult time, in this challenging time when they're learning from home? I think that if you were to look to your school for some hints and tips, they could certainly help you out, and they could certainly provide you with some direction. I'm sure that the teachers who know that student would also be willing to provide that direct encouragement, perhaps through email or the messaging that's been set up through that school, that online learning platform. I really think, though, what we need to...
Gabbie, there's an added complication here, though, and we have had some questions about this. Christy Huell's written in talking about the fact that on top of the homeschooling, she's working from home full-time. The son is in grade 3. How do you actually balance delivering the homeschooling with also doing your own job in the same space at the same time?
It's really tricky. The first thing I'd just like to clarify too is that we're not actually, the situation we find ourselves in right now isn't actually homeschooling. What we're seeing right now are students learning from home, just like adults are working from home. So no one's actually expecting parents to teach their child as a teacher would in a classroom. Teachers are working very, very hard to deliver curriculum online and remotely in many varied forms so that their students can still access it. But I totally understand, as a parent at home with my girls at the moment, the challenge that this poses when we're trying to get our own work done as well. And I think that what we need to start doing, and it's an idea that the panel has kept circling around all night, we keep asking what works, what's going to work, what's going to get us through this, what works. But I really think we need to shift to a different question, and it needs to be what matters. We need to ask ourselves what really matters right now, because I'm here to tell you a little secret that teachers want all parents to know. We know mistakes are going to be made. We know kids are going to miss out on essential learning that should have been covered this year. We know that there's going to be a disruption to learning. We just can't do it all, no matter how hard teachers work and with what integrity parents go at this learning from home with their own children. So we need to shift, and we need to stop asking what's going to work, what's going to get us through, what's going to get my kid from A to B, and we need to start asking what matters right now. And what matters right now is that our families feel harmonious and safe. Children can't learn unless they feel safe, and there's high anxiety in the air around them all the time at the moment, especially, as related to this pandemic that we face. So we need to really adjust our expectations and what we're asking of ourselves and what we're asking of our children at this time. We have other languages of value rather than the grades that we achieve and the amount of online lessons that we get through. I really think that if teachers could talk to parents right now frankly and candidly without being gagged, as teachers so often are, they would really like parents just to relax, take a breath. We know that you're doing the best that you can. Look for opportunities around the home where you can educate your child and just be with them at this time. Help them get through this. What our kids are actually learning right now is how we deal with a crisis. That's what they're learning, and this is a massive life skill, and this is what matters at this point in time.
One question that came in from Megan Green, Gabbie, is the scrapping of NAPLAN a good thing? Should it stay that way? What's your view?
Look, if there's anything good to come out of this pandemic, it's the scrapping of NAPLAN. That gets a huge smile from me. And isn't that an interesting concept? Because just 3 or 4 months ago, if we had have suggested scrapping NAPLAN, it would be like someone was saying, let's remove the Sydney Harbour Bridge, and we'd all be up in arms and we wouldn't be able to imagine our world without it. And yet, just like that, it can be gone. And that's what I'm thinking about and talking about here in this idea of, rather than focusing on what works, it's about what what matters. What matters right now is reducing the stress that we're feeling in our homes and in our families. And I'm really hoping that when we look at our education system post-pandemic, we find ourselves in a world where NAPLAN is just a distant memory.
Okay, well, our next two questions tonight, Gabbie, come from Saniha and Dale, both with their kids.
My 7-month-old has been indoors for most of his life, initially due to the poor air quality caused by the bushfires and now the COVID-19 virus. Keeping things interesting for their rapidly developing minds is hard to do, particularly with urban living. Care to share your wisdom in keeping our little ones busy?
Hi, this is my 18-month-old daughter Frankie. And one thing that my wife and I are particularly worried about, with all the physical distancing measures in place, is that she's now staying home with us full time. If she's not able to interact with other children and adults in person for a sustained period of time, what impact will this have on her and other children's social development? Say bye? Wait. Good girl.
Gabbie Stroud, I mean, is there a simple answer here?
There's not a simple answer, and what I would suggest is that in that whole response I keep giving about what matters is what matters in your family, and what will bring your family through this is going to be uniquely different from what is happening to the family next door. We can be certain that this pandemic is going to have deep, long-lasting impact on our children, on our little ones. You know, they will remember this. This will be, engraved in their memory and their psyche, because it's greatly impacting on their ability to socialise, and in them not being able to attend daycare and school settings. We're reducing their world. We're really shrinking it. In terms of how we combat that and how we deal with that in our homes and at this time, I think we need to get really, really creative. We need to be really okay with our homes being really messy. I know that's something that's happening in my house. I think we have to really look at creative ways of connecting with the family members that we can't be with. And we need to really support our kids in understanding what's going on. We need to nurture them through these uncertain feelings that they're having. And that'll happen through really candid and loving conversations that we have as a family.